Hello indeed, it is my Monday. So we'll start with the Joker chart. Don't know what else to say about it. It's still bad, isn't it? Compared to all the others, it's still very bad. And it's deceptively good, actually, compared to other ways of presenting United States of America's unemployment problem. This is the one I've used so many other times, is the M ratio from the St. Louis Fed. Going back to 1950 odd. We've been through the shape before. Starting in about 1970, more and more parts of the population decided to go to work for the freedom aspect of it all, or whatever women thought they were thinking. And with more of them going into the workplace, it went all the way up to the computer boom of the 1990s and peaked out as that crash started at nearly 64.5% of the population working. Just let's call it working. And then it fell down again and went up just before this crash to 63% working, and you can just see the shape of it. And that's a probably better way of looking at the unemployment situation in the United States. It's fallen off a ruddy cliff, mate, all the way down to 58.5 at the end of the recession, and it hasn't gone up at all. Not up at all, mate. Not up at all. The other employment way of looking at things, people are falling off registers, going on to other registers, but that's the real one. The percentage of people working is down at a level it first was in the mid-70s. Rubbish. Absolute bloody rubbish. I use this chart in comments on the fives, so I'll just put it up for anybody else that's interested. I'm not going to talk too much about it. It's how European banks fund themselves. Now, I'm not going to go into the fives, don't worry. But the far left there, far left, you've got deposits. So the dark grey is deposits at the bottom. So how much parts of on their liability side, balancing out their asset side, are deposits. In Denmark, it's a very small number. And the big number for Denmark is debt securities. All right, I'm not going to go into it. So moving across, low but better than or more than Denmark is the United Kingdom, shuffling further across, more deposits in France, more across the yellow dots, obviously Germany more, and Spain have got even more deposits, but you can see basically the different makeup of the asset liabilities side. I'll leave it there. The asset side and liabilities side. More liabilities side of European banks. Better move on quick. This is from The Economist, and it's interesting in a couple of ways. Cabinets and the people, it's called. You can see the countries down the side there, India, China, United States, Brazil. I've blobbed the three on the far left, which are India, Brazil and Iran. Now that's population mean age. They're very young populations. The mean age in India seems to be 25, incredibly low. But must be a very young population. Brazil, under 30, very young population. And in Iran, so when you think about sending Israel in to blow up Iran or something, it's most of the population is very young indeed, very young population. Old populations, particularly on this one, are Japan and Germany, who are running into demographic problems. Lots of their workers are retiring, and there aren't the replacements coming in behind. And to make this chart even more whizzy, they've put in cabinet ministers' average age. You know, in the government, the cabinet ministers, starting at the top. India have got the youngest population, but the oldest average age of cabinet ministers at 65. And pulling back, China is second, with the United States third, with the old fogies running the place in India, China and the United States. But in Russia, right down at the bottom, Australia and Germany much younger aged cabinet politicians. I'm going to finish with this one. Ontario compared to cash-strapped California. Per capita debt is higher. Can I read this? I've actually pulled this out with the adverts and the blump on the other side, because I just like this. It just tells you what sort of a internet newspaper it is. Who's Canada's hottest Olympic broadcaster? It's just one of the things that's down to lure you into more stories, and if you go down that lot, there's all sorts of stuff that's so very tempting. Anyway, I won't go into it. Basically, they reckon Ontario, if you compare it to California, Ontario's in much worse trouble, and anybody that knows what trouble California is must think for Ontario, gosh, you must be in trouble, kids. But the point I'd like to make here is, I think it even says it at the bottom. I was going to bring up a few of these and stack them all up, but I'll just do this one today. But the state government is at least moving to control spending. Now that's California, but the state government is at least moving to control spending and tackle the deficit, while Ontario is pretending that nothing is wrong, said Bill Tuft's executive something of something. And that's the thing. What we've got so much out there, when things go wrong, the people that are responsible for it seem to have developed this wonderful technique of doing nothing about it, and that is just fine, to do nothing about what everybody can see as a problem. Do nothing. I don't quite understand it. Is it the politicians' fault, or the people, the responsibility, them in charge is fault, or is it our fault for not holding them responsible for doing their jobs? Have a good week. I'm sure that'll make all difference to your week, me telling you on Monday to have a good one. Bye.